Hey guys, welcome to the woods. Well, on the weekends a lot of times I like to walk around further out of the woods just to kind of see what people are doing. I can sort of be in my own head and I can be meditative and I can observe a lot of people when I'm not walking with anyone necessarily. I mean, I walked with a few people the last few days, so that's nice too. It's just noting the difference. But you're just walking and, you know, being with my people without having to talk to anybody necessarily. But it's interesting. We know what I'm going on and on. All right. I thought I would change it up a little bit today because it's Saturday. My day's all changed. So, thinking about a point that I don't know why I have the inkling to find people who work for the Park Service that are in charge of the chainsaws. And I'm sure that's not exactly anything you thought I'd be coming up with in this conversation right now. But that would be my rub if there's a rub. I just want to get a message out to the people who are in charge of the chainsaws involved with, managing public land. But specifically here, Baltimore City, Baltimore Zoo, my backyard, my home, my town. All right, so I'm sure it's the same problem other places, but see, I'm not really good at this especially. But all right, I'm gonna look in the camera. See that tree that fell there? So what happens is now they're not cutting around it. So that probably just fell within the last year, but there's some grasses are growing, some plants are growing out of there. I see it all the time in the woods, this circle of life of nature, if you would. But anyway, in here there's some really big old grandparents of the small trees that are growing in around it. So it's all mixed together like it's perfect little harmony. And one of the things that sparked me to talk about this, I thought I could catch it on film, but see if I'm pointing in the right spot. Maybe I should go up to it. But I didn't really want to. But anyway, right there at the edge, there's a deer sleeping. And it's so sweet. It's like looking at my dog sleeping. He's oblivious. Breathing at that, I'm running around in the forest looking for love. That's what the deer's dreaming about. All right, so anyway, that's that fallen tree. Perfect. Leave it just that way, right? That's going to be perfect home for squirrels and birds, and a lot of trees pop out of those. In fact, I didn't really show the piece, but I've thought about it and I will show it. You see that stump coming out? There's a tree coming out of it. It's the stump, get my hand right. The stump itself is producing another tree. And coming out of here, I see it all the time. You'll see, like sometimes the disconnect hasn't totally happened. And you'll see buds of branches starting growing out of this dead tree. They say when a tree falls, it's at its half-life. It's got a whole, 100-year-old tree has 100 years of feeding the soil and decaying and sprouting mushrooms and mosses and all that type of stuff. Anyway, cute little spot for having picnics, but we're not doing that now because it's coronavirus time. But I'm out here by myself, so it's a great place to meditate. One thing these little buffer areas that are not cut do is they do pick up a little bit of trash. But, the trash is going somewhere. It's just, we need to get some manpower to get it cleaned up. Randomly, just throughout the years, go through. People like to get into nature, and they can make money at the same time. Anybody who's struggling in life ought to spend more time in nature, so let's help them out and give them something to do. Now, you don't feel like it's trash duty. We got to sort of spin it a whole nother way. It's your chance to embrace nature. But anyway, see this area, planted trees, grasses. Nice, but not especially, we need a buffer zone between our little picnic area behind me here and nature out there in the woodsy area. So yeah, you need a buffer. So this is perfect. So a little buffer is good. The thing is, there's a point I wanted to make that I was going through a minute ago anyway. I don't know if you can really see it, but yeah, behind all that growth there, if I can get my hand right, is a big mama tree. That tree is going to fall in the next, 10, 20 years, maybe 1 year. But let's just say it falls on this grassy area. Let's let it lay. And it'll be there for another 50 years, feeding nutrients to the soil, sheltering for animals, all that kind of stuff. And we'll give up this grass area, and we'll probably reclaim some back behind where the tree didn't fall, you know? So the thing I'm sure you're thinking is like, well, what the heck, Dan? Why are we talking about these trees in parks? So let's just look up in here. So up in here, beautiful big old trees with grass underneath them. Grass underneath those big old trees. And they're such cool trees. I mean, when do you see branches like that growing across so far sideways? Right out of the side of the tree. But anyway, so here's, you know, Grandma. She fell somewhere around here. But this would be a whole different forest bed with her laying across the top of it. And trust me, it wouldn't be all overgrown and nasty, because I go into the Baltimore Zoo woods all the time, and when it's untouched, there's so much big old growth and big fallen growth that there just isn't covered with vines and nastiness. It's a great spot to be in. We have trails walking through and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, so here's another spot where we've got grass down there at the far end and grass here for people, which is good. We need a buffer between us and all the varmints. But this would be great if a tree was falling in it. This is a great spot just anyway, so I should just show you. But I already walked through here, so then I was like, I should share this. But anyway, see these beautiful trees and the lighting and the sun's coming through, and it's like 72 degrees with the sun on you, but a breeze. It's like, I don't know, you can't buy this experience of being in this exact weather right now. Isn't this way all day, of course. A little too chilly in the morning, so you got to have equipment. You got to be able to change up a little bit. But that's very easy to do, especially when you feel like, oh, I really want to make that happen in my life. I want my trunk to be full of all the clothes I need, that no matter where I pop out, I see trees and woods, I get out of my car and I walk in and I'm all ready. I got water, I got everything I need. But anyway, beautiful spot. So you wouldn't cut up a tree if it fell in that spot, right? It would just become part of the natural ecosystem that was going on here. So the point is this. Getting back to my starting point of who's in charge of the chainsaws in the park services. All of them, because I've been around to all the parks around Baltimore. And a lot of old trees. And right here, I mean, if I could get through the trees, I could probably shine a laser on a tree, not quite as big as that big grandma I showed you, but freshly cut to the ground. And everything is cleaned up, it's gone. And I go to other parks and trees fall, and sometimes if they're being halfway concerned about nature or whatever else, they just hack it all up and stack all the limbs and everything in a pile. It's like, why? Just let it lay. The one thing we can't duplicate here on planet Earth is 100, 200-year-old trees. But you can't just say it's because they stand up and they have green leaves. Once they don't produce green leaves, they're done. It's their half-life. So much more that tree has to give now that it's built this thing. It's spent hundreds of years building this machine that's going to put out mushrooms and feed all kinds of, you can't even imagine, right? The whole planet would be covered 5 feet deep with all the microorganisms if we brought them all to the surface. They're everywhere with us, so we're learning to be in harmony with those microorganisms, but this is just one of the many, many places where it pans out or spills out into reality where you see it. When you see that people probably just feel like, my job is chainsaw, and I see a downed tree, let me go get it. And what manager sitting in his desk isn't going to say, oh, yeah, the tree's across the grass, and it's, yeah, sure, cut it up, get it out of there, clean this place up, this is a grass area. So who's in charge of the guy with the chainsaw? And, let's just sort of just be one little thing. But we're going back to nature, right? We're going to get this technology, and, you'll be temperature controlled in yourself, and you'll be like, you know what? I love living with you people. I love eating with you people. I love working with you people, because I get a lot of time to be by myself in the woods and love on myself. You take out the component of the alone time, in the alone space, in the space where all things are perfect, and come into harmony with the temperature and the breeze and the weather of the day, right? Get in that cycle of it's nighttime, I'm slowing down, calming down, sleeping, and I'm waking up and I'm invigorating my mind with expectation of a beautiful day, and then checking on it throughout the day and putting processes into place to say, I'm going to love on the natural process. Just allow the natural process that happens happen. And anything you're fussing over wanting to change, you're the problem. Now, if you got past things where you've said that for a long time, that's going to have to change, or whatever happened in the past was totally wrong, and based on that totally wrong that I experienced in my past, I'm going to say this and that are wrong in the future. There never was wrong in the past. That's a misinterpretation of your experience. All of our experiences, but we all do it. We carry the misinterpreted wrongs of our parents and the watch out for this is going to happen to me. Because I've seen it happen to people before. We haven't seen things happen to people before. We've experienced with our sense of fear that things that were happening to people were terrible. And even some people who were in the middle of it said, let me tell you, this is terrible. But it's all just fear conversation. Nothing's really ever happened to the human energy ball that we are in this energy ball of a galaxy. It's all vibration, all energy, all perfect. But there's just what I think and what I perceive is what I resonate with, and that's what I pull out of the ethers. They have to match. So I'm just letting you know that you have the choice to tick up and do it any way you want. So why would I care if a guy with a chainsaw does whatever he wants? I don't know. That's why I say I'm just my little rub. It's not a real rub. It's not something valid. It's not something to worry about. Nature's going to heal. But after man heals, we have to come into harmony with who we are inside our skin, and then we'll see the harmony in what's happening around us in nature. And we won't take a fallen tree and hack it to the ground. Surprised they didn't dig the root ball out just so there'd be no signs of it ever having been there. I've seen some places in the park, many years ago where they took the stump and they would cut it at like 6 foot high, and a guy would come in with a chainsaw and make artwork out of it. That's better, for sure. But why do anything? Make a sanctuary around it where you don't cut the grass anymore and you let the wildlife go. And if the deer want to sleep in there, that's where they'll sleep. Because we need a few deer around here. The deer are feeding and protecting the other animals and notifying the rabbits when to run and giving the fox something to do. Chasing down. It's all good. And we've got them all here. They're all here. They'll become very vibrant quickly. They snap up in no time. So, is the energetic changing of the collective consciousness on planet Earth changing? Yeah, because we're moving in our 24,000-year journey around the galaxy into a higher vibration where we're going to be more in tune with who we really are and what we're really all about, and harmony between ourselves and our sense of fear. It'll all be improved upon by the vibration of the planet, given its proximity to other planets and other parts of the galaxy. So that's simple, right? Anyway, so you can't mess it up, can't get it wrong. It's going to happen no matter what. So relax. And nature's going to bounce back super strong, and everything will be fine. But just want to try to, in my little way, put out a little seed of, I'm letting the world know intentionally on a video that I think that the fallen trees should be let lay and build a sanctuary around the bottom as the area we don't cut the grass. See how that is? That's a little sanctuary around those trees, and then the grass is here. I love open grass. It's beautiful. But when one of those trees fall, that will become the next patch, like this area. And we'll find other grass spots and we'll keep going. But let's make these little grass hills. See that little natural berm there? Let's put some stone down on it or something, or wood even, and or wood on top of stone so it stays real nice, but something that looks very natural. And people can be sitting there. And I'm sure this place is hopping when it's not coronavirus time. That might be I thought it was a dying tree, but really it's just a tree that his leaves are all gone for the most part. But they save so much wind damage from these little trees, so you need them all. You know how it is. But the big ones are so hard to get rid of, but don't think because it died or fell over or got blown over in the wind that it's done. I've seen those laying on their side with the stump pulled up out of the ground like it was a vibrant tree. And it just sits there with a stump, and then you look at it 20 years later, it's like there's trees coming up out of it. That's the really supercharged tree growth process that can happen if you just leave things alone. So anyway, I know we're doing it down in the rainforest, and we're doing it everywhere. We're trying to fight for losing, down in the rainforest, like what, football fields every minute or something like that we lose. But anyway, but we got our part here, right? It's a vibrational thing, Think globally, act locally. Love on yourself, and we'll all be more loving. It's not by going out there and fixing something and doing something about that chainsaw guy. Just loving on yourself. It's going to radiate out to the rest of the planet. We're just being synchronicity with what's already going on anyway. So that's why I'm even having this conversation, because the thought came to me from the ethers around me to say, who's giving the message of, hey, sit down, love on yourself more? No one ever gave it to me, because I was a doer. Anyone who knows me, I can't even sit down, let alone not do. So that's why I meditate walking in the woods. But anyway, and now I'm chewing on this fine point with you fine folks. Isn't life beautiful? All right, that's it, 15 minutes. And, oh, come on out to the woods. So delicious. All right, that's it.